In this video, I'm going to be showing you how to rank #1 on Google for both organic listings and the Google My Business listings, as well as how ads work, what the search engine results page looks like, and this is really going to be an all-out, in-depth video when it comes to how Google rankings work and how you can increase the performance of your website to start getting more clicks, more leads, and more conversions. So with all that talking out of the way, let's get started. The first thing I'm going to cover is the SERP, S-E-R-P. So forgive my messy handwriting, I know it's not clean, but you're going to have to deal with it for this video. Now the SERP is what you're commonly familiar with on Google. This is when you search something into Google and then you have a whole page of optimized results come up. Now a user could be looking for anything really. I mean, it could be looking for a product, it could be looking for a service, maybe they're looking for a book, online resources, etc. Right? They could be looking for any one of millions of things. And so the reason that Google is so good at what it does is because it has such an optimized system that allows users to find what they're looking for. Now in this example, we're going to be searching New London web design because, well, this is a keyword that we are using personally for our business, and we actually do show up first when it comes to New London web design, which is pretty cool. So we're practicing what we preach. Now one of the first things you're going to see on the SERP are the ads. So you've seen Google ads before. You literally can't make a Google search without finding Google ads. And Google ads come in a few forms. They could be product ads or they could be listing ads. So, the first couple websites that you see show up, people are paying per click for those websites. They could be paying anywhere from a couple cents to a couple dollars based on how competitive the industry is. Think about this as supply and demand. Of course, if it's a more competitive industry or it's a more expensive industry, then people are going to be paying more for these ads to show up. Now, I always like to use the example of a dental company versus a restaurant. So a dental company is willing to pay anywhere from $5 to $10 for some clicks to get people to their website, because the cost of dental services are so much higher than, say, that of a restaurant. Restaurants are very cheap. You go there, you spend $10, $20, $30, and then, that's why they're only willing to pay less than $1 per click, because it just doesn't make sense mathematically for them to be putting that much into a Google ads. So after the ads on Google, you're going to see the map pack. Now you're probably also familiar with the map pack. You've probably used it many times when it comes to searching something proximity based. Let's say that you did search New London web designers. Of course, it's going to show you all of the web designers in the area based on proximity. And there are a lot of factors when it comes to Google My Business and ranking on this map pack. And this map pack is also vitally important for you getting more people through the doors when it comes to a local brick and mortar business. So the next thing would be the organic listings. So when marketers talk about the difference between paid marketing, paid advertising, PPC, versus organic marketing, you're trying to optimize the website to show up first organically rather than paying for the ads to show up first. Now people do have the tendency to trust organic listings more than they do ads, because ads are always there and you don't actually have to have credibility necessarily to have an ad, because anybody could pay for an ad and show up first. Whereas organic listings are known to be more trustworthy, they have high authority, and they are usually credible. And really the organic listings go to the bottom of the page. There are going to be some ads scattered throughout that SERP page. So now that we've gone over the SERP, I'm going to start breaking down the phases of an SEO campaign and what it really takes to rank #1 on Google for organic listings as well as the map pack. So step 1 is building a strong foundation, and don't worry, I'll explain what that means in just a second. Now I like to think of a website as a building. So obviously you can't build a building without a really strong foundation, or else you're just going to keep building up and then everything's going to crumble. Now when it comes to building a strong foundation for a website, there are a few factors that I'm going to break down. So the first factor is the SSL certificate. Now this is when you're on a website and you're looking at the top left, you could see either the locked symbol or the not secure. Now you want your website to be secure, needless to say, because if it's not secure, then it poses a security risk, and Google is going to say, hey, this website is not as secure as this other website that's secure, so we're going to recommend this website because we don't want our users to lose private information or to lose access to certain things. Okay, so the next factor is the mobile friendliness test. This is something that Google uses to determine whether a website works on phones and also tablets. And needless to say, it's really important for your website to work on a phone and a tablet, because this is where the majority of people are browsing websites from in a lot of industries. If your website doesn't work on a phone, that's a serious issue and you're going to have to get it checked out. Now, what's the easiest way to see if your website works on phones? Well, the easiest way is to go to the Google Mobile Friendliness Test and input your domain so that Google can run its test and see what it thinks about the quality of your website on phones. By the way, if you're liking the video and learning a lot from it, then I would appreciate it if you hit the thumbs up button for me, and also consider subscribing to the channel for more content about web design, SEO, and growing your business. So the next factor is page speed. And who likes to wait 15 seconds for a website to load? Nobody does. And so that's why Google is not likely to recommend websites that have a really low page speed. Now, you can test page speed by going onto Google's page speed test and then just running your domain through it, just like the mobile friendliness test. They're going to tell you exactly how long it takes when it comes to both the desktop version and the mobile version of the site. Sometimes you're going to have the Google test say that it takes 5 to 10 seconds when really it loads in just 2 seconds. You try it on all kinds of different devices and then run it through the page speed test, and this is going to be a good indication of how well your page loads. Now, the next factor is site health, and mobile friendliness and page speed are actually both somewhat a part of site health. Site health is kind of a broad saying for how well does your website work, how healthy is it, I guess you could say, when it comes to load speeds. Are all the buttons working properly? Are there broken links that direct people to nothing or 404 pages? There are a list of like 100 site health errors, and the way that you're going to look at this would be with an SEO software such as Semrush, SEMrush. This is a software that's going to let you look at the list of site health errors. It's going to give you a percentage that it thinks that your site is in terms of health, and then you can actually go through the list of errors and start correcting them in order to bump up your site health. Some of the most common site health errors I've seen is having broken links, broken pages, having multiple H1 headings, which you're not supposed to do, or having less than 500 words on a page because Google likes to see pages with a decent amount of content. Now, the next factor is the Google My Business, and we've already touched on this a little bit, but now to go a little bit more in depth, the Google My Business is so important when it comes to a brick and mortar business. When people are searching proximity-based searches like web designers near me or New London web designers, Google is more likely to show the map to them because people want to see the actual location of these businesses to make sure that they're near them. If it was an ad or an organic listing, it wouldn't be as easy to tell whether they're truly a local business. Now, showing up first on the Google Map Pack is just a matter of a couple main factors, and these are the biggest factors that we like to focus on. So the first is proximity to the searcher or proximity to the location that they're searching, as well as reviews. When it comes to the Google Map Packs, Google doesn't have enough information as they do when it comes to organic listings. All they really have is the information that you put into the Google My Business. And so how would Google determine whether a website is trustworthy, whether it's credible? And the only way to do that easily is to look at the amount of reviews and the quality of the reviews that this business has. So if you do have a business, say in New London, and you have more reviews than the competitors, and those reviews are higher quality than the competitors, this is going to be one of the major factors that lets you show up first here. And this is one of the secrets that a lot of people don't focus on when it comes to owning a business. Having reviews is just so crucial when it comes to this part of it. And there are certain things that can be done to make getting reviews easier. Say that you were a salon, you could set up automated text to send them the link to the reviews, or you could put a barcode on your door that people could scan and automatically leave a review. You want to make it easy for the customer to leave reviews because, again, it is so crucial. And with all that being said, we're going to move into the next phase. Okay, in the next step, you're going to want to focus on SEO, search engine optimization. And yes, the first step was also SEO technically. A lot of the things that you were doing were part of SEO, but the reason that I differentiated step 1 from step 2 is because building a foundation is one of the most important steps first, and then after that you're going to want to focus on the continued marketing campaign by doing keyword research, keyword implementation, and then some of the other strategies. So let's jump right into it. First, you're going to want to do keyword research. This is going to be finding all of the keywords that people are searching in order to find your product, service, or whatever you do. The easiest way to do this would be to use a tool like Semrush and use the keyword magic tool. So let's say that I was looking for local web design clients for my own company. How would I analyze these lists of keywords in order to determine the best one for me? So the first factor I look at is the keyword volume, which is how many people are searching this keyword every month. Another factor that's really important that you're going to need to look at is the keyword difficulty. If the keyword difficulty is very low, that means that you actually have a chance of ranking for that keyword. And if it's very high, what that really means is that you have almost no likelihood of ranking for that keyword unless you're a big business that has a lot of clicks to your website, a lot of authority, a lot of backlinks, which we'll get into in a little bit here. So what is the perfect keyword for my business? I like to look at between 0 to a couple hundred searches per month for a certain keyword, and then a keyword difficulty of between 0 to 40. And another way that you're going to find these keywords is by doing competitor research. So find a couple of your top competitors and then put them into the domain overview. This way you could find out what are people searching to find your competitors, what are the exact keywords, and then you can use these strategies and you could use your research and implement some of these strategies into your own site. Now the next step is going to be keyword implementation. So after you've done your keyword research and hopefully you've made a nice spreadsheet that has all of your keywords listed out with the volume and the keyword difficulty next to them, what you're going to want to do is create pages based around this content. Now when it comes to implementing keywords, there's a lot of things that you have to think about, so I'm going to break it down. The first thing you have to think about is what is the intention of the person searching this keyword? If they're looking for a product or service, then you're going to want to make your page dedicated around the product or service. You're going to want to show pictures or videos of the product and then talk about an in-depth description of what the product offers, what the service offers. You get what I'm saying. Now, if the keyword appears to be somebody looking up an answer to a specific question or a certain topic, maybe the best way to target that keyword would be to write a blog about it or write an FAQ section about it. Lastly, a great way to target keywords is to use location-based service pages. So let's say I wanted to target a bunch of different cities around me for marketing services like SEO, PPC, or web design. This is actually a strategy we implemented into our own website in order to target these towns locally to us, and all you have to do is find out all the keywords of these specific towns and then make pages based around PPC Westerly, Web Design Westerly, or SEO Westerly, and you would have to write specific content about those services on the location pages. Now, a really important thing to keep in mind when you're targeting keywords is how many keywords are you targeting. You're really not supposed to target more than a couple keywords per page, and when it comes to the main keyword that you're targeting, there only should be one. So what I mean by this is, if you have the chapter title, that's kind of like the H1 heading. That's the biggest heading about the page. What is this website page about? Below the H1 is the H2. So as you could guess, it's a little bit smaller than the H1, and it's going to be a little bit more specific, talking about a subtopic of the page. So you can have one H1 and then you should have a few H2s, maybe 4 or 5 in some situations. I mean, it all depends on exactly what the page is talking about. And it's also important that the page has about 500 words or more because Google likes to see a decent amount of content on the page. Now the next thing you need to make sure that you're doing is focusing on title tags and meta descriptions. So this is important because on the SERP page that I was showing you earlier, the title tag is the big blue link that you're scrolling down. It's the organic listing, the name of it. And then the meta description is the description below the website link on the search page. So at the very least, make sure that you have a title tag and a meta description. The last thing you want is not having these and then your page just shows some random content, or maybe it just doesn't have a meta description. That just looks unprofessional. People are way less likely to click it. Now the one thing I will say about the title tag and meta description is that the length is very important. For the title tag, you want to try to shoot between 50 to 60 characters long, and the meta description 150 to 160 characters. Okay, so the next thing we need to focus on are photos and alt tags. And to be honest, there's kind of a lot you have to think about when it comes to photos for your website, as well as the alt tags you're applying to these photos. And if you have no idea what I'm talking about, then just keep listening and you'll understand in a couple minutes. So here's a few things to think about when it comes to photos. Are the photos relevant? Are they high quality photos? But then at the same time, are the photos optimized? By that I mean, are the photos a very large size? So if the photo is high quality, that's great. You want it to look good, but you also don't want the photo to be a 3 megabyte photo on your website, because that's an example of something that's going to slow down your website and make your page speed a lot lower. So ideally, you want a high quality photo that's probably a couple hundred kilobytes at most, maybe 300 kilobytes at max, and try to get your photo to below that size. So if you don't know how to do that, look at how to optimize photo sizes. Really, it's quite simple. You just have to scale the photo down using different tools. You can make it smaller in terms of pixel count, as well as put it into tinypng.com or some other tool that's going to optimize it and turn it into a smaller file size. So once your site has photos that are high quality, relevant, and they're also not massive photos, then focus on applying alt tags to the photos. So an alt tag is essentially something that helps Google when it comes to looking at a picture. Google doesn't have eyes. What they do have are bots. And these bots aren't capable of looking at a photo and deciding what it is. What they can do is look at the alt tag that you give the photo and also the file name of the photo. So name these photos the name of the keyword that you're trying to target. For example, westerlyseo.jpg, that would be the name of an image that I would put on a page about Westerly Marketing Services. And then for the alt tag, maybe Westerly Digital Marketing. This is going to help Google look at your website page and decide that it actually is relevant to what the person is searching, and then they're going to be more likely to recommend you. And one more factor that's crucial for an SEO campaign are backlinks. So a backlink is when somebody is referring to your website and it's going to funnel them from other websites to your website. Now, backlinks are helpful for a few reasons. Number one, if a website that has a lot of clicks is referring to your website and then they link to you, then you're going to get some of the visitors from that website to you. The other reason that they're so important is because they actually help build authority and credibility in the eyes of Google. This is really a matter of the authority score that I was mentioning earlier. When a website with high authority backlinks to you, when they reference you, Google looks at this and says, hey, if this website with a lot of clicks and a lot of trustworthiness is referring to this website, then they're more likely to be credible. So those are just two reasons that backlinks are really crucial, and this is actually one of the most important factors for an SEO campaign. Okay, so that about wraps up what I'm going to talk about in terms of SEO, and now you might be wondering, well, what's next? So if your site is mobile friendly, it loads fast, it's very healthy, all of these boxes are checked off, then what do you do after that? SEO is really an ongoing campaign. You're never going to be done targeting keywords, and if you are, then your industry probably doesn't have enough keywords, or you're too niche down, because realistically, if you've already targeted every single keyword, you've already gone to every single company that could possibly backlink to you, then at that point maybe you want to focus your efforts elsewhere. But in my personal experience, I never run out of things to do, because there's always more keywords to research, more pages to create, and then more things that you could do to increase the conversions of your website. If you really have finished everything when it comes to an SEO campaign, then that's when you should start running ads. Since your website performs so well, this is the perfect time to run ads, because the ads are going to be cheaper and you know that the people are going to convert more because your website is so high performance. So if you think that you've done everything you can for increasing conversions and organic listings, then try to do non-organic marketing like Google Ads, email marketing, and social media marketing. It's going to be a lot easier for you to get people from the internet or from social media to your website and then to purchase products or services. Now that's all I got for the video. I really hope you enjoyed it, and again, if you did, please hit that thumbs up button for me. I spent a lot of time making it and I would appreciate it more than you know. And also consider subscribing to the channel if you want to see more content like this about SEO, web design, and growing your business.